Hey guys, welcome back to your Daily Dose. Today we're talking about Tyler Perry's The Oval, Season 2, Episode 7. So we're starting off with Alan walking in on Donald kissing Kyle. Kyle is immediately irritated because as much as he wants to be all over Donald and he wants them to move in together and love each other, he also doesn't really want their relationship known to the public. They can't really have it known to the public because of Donald's reputation and everything that he possibly has going on with the First Lady's parents. So they asked Alan what he wanted, and Alan said, the president needs you. So Donald excuses himself, and Kyle says, I'm going to stay here and talk to Alan. So Donald tells him to listen, be nice. So he goes into, I guess, the administrative area where Alan sits, and it's just crazy and awkward as Kyle typically is. So, he's asking him questions like, why are you fidgeting? I'm sitting here and I'm just watching you, you saying you're hot. Why are you hot? Are you sexually hot? And Alan's like, what are you talking about, dude? It's hot in here. I'm hot. And Kyle asked him what he saw in his office, and Alan says, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Additionally, I guess that answer made Kyle a little comfortable. So then Kyle starts digging a little bit about, who do you talk to outside of here, where you're from, that type of thing. He gets a little bit of detail, but that's all he needs because he's Kyle. He can find out anything he wants about Alan based off the little that he told him. But he did threaten him when he left his space and said, if you tell anyone about what you saw, you won't have eyes. Like, I will literally gouge out your eyes. So Alan wasn't necessarily threatened by that. He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything. And Kyle was like, keep it that way. So like I said a couple episodes back, Kyle and Ellie know how to play the game. I don't think they got to their positions by chance. I think that they worked really hard and hustled to get there. So he's no fool. So in the next scene, Priscilla calls someone named Greg. He is wearing a hard hat. I don't know if he's a construction worker or electrician. But in any case, Priscilla asks him if he's seen Jean, and Jean's like, and Greg's like, I haven't seen or heard from her all night. I've been trying to call her. And they both are worried. So Greg says that he will go to her apartment and see if she's okay, if she's there, or if there are any problems. I'm not really sure who Greg is based on this conversation. I don't know if it's the boyfriend or if it's her father, or maybe it's her brother or someone related to Priscilla. I'm not sure, but they don't make that clear in this episode at all. Hopefully they'll make it clear in future episodes. So when Priscilla gets off the phone with Greg, Sam walks into where she's sitting drinking her coffee. And he's like, you know what? You were right. The First Lady does want me. And I'm just like, duh. You needed to have that last conversation before you figured out that she wanted you. She's been pushing up on you this whole time. And she gave you a little bit of something down there a couple episodes ago. So that was just a dumb statement to make. So you tell your wife that this lady wants you, but she's also offering you a job that pays more and is essentially a promotion. It would be a really good look. Why did he think it was a good idea to even bring this to his wife's attention? I mean, he tries to spin it and says, we have a lot of debt between your parents, cancer, and the mortgage on the house. We need the money. And it's like, dude, you want to be closer to the First Lady. You like the way she's throwing herself on you. And like you said, it's less responsibility and more money, but at the expense of your marriage. So Priscilla's like, are you that mad at me? If anybody else was in this situation, right? Sam would remove them from the situation and then write up a full report. So Priscilla's like, well, you still working closely with her. In fact, you are trying to work even closer with her, and I'm pretty sure you do not have a report about the blowjob that she gave you. Priscilla also brings up how Sam just may in general be resentful, right? She can't have kids. He definitely wants kids. They have a lot of debt. He wants to be debt free. Apparently he has a brother named Will, and he really admires the life that he has built for himself and is trying to emulate that, and is resentful because he doesn't have a wife that can give him that. So at the end of the day, Priscilla's like, take the job and do what's best for you. And Sam goes, I'm trying to do what's best for us. And she goes, there will be no us. Like, I have Richard over here trying to sleep with some maid. I have Jean who's been missing and no one can find her. And now I have to deal with my husband and him cheating on me with the first lady. Like, I don't have the energy for all of this. She feels very stretched thin, and tells Sam that she's just in general so disappointed in him, which is understandable. Like, Sam seemed like such a stand-up guy, and he knows better than to put himself in any of the situation that he's in. You know, the first lady pushing up on him, he knew that wasn't a good idea, and he should not have let that happen. So no matter what's going on in his marriage with Priscilla and what he's unhappy about, if you're unhappy, leave, but don't cheat and then do it right up under her nose. So I don't know about you guys, but I am not really getting much out of the Bobby and Max scenes. I'm hopeful for what they may become and where they will go from here. I'm hoping, like I said in the past, that it'll become like more like a buddy cop thing, but up until they leave this cabin, it's really, really boring. So in any case, they're there. Bobby's pacing back and forth waiting for Lily to call. His phone rings and it ends up being Diane. They basically say, you know, you're being followed, you have to be careful. And Diane says that she's going to adopt a plan similar to Lily's, where she's going to go back and make Donald and them think that she is willing to play ball and see how it goes from there. After they hang up from the phone, Bobby decides that he wants to go find Lily and make sure she's okay. And Max is like, I'm going with you. You don't really have a choice. So in the next scene, we have this Greg person showing up at Jean's apartment. He is like frantic because he gets in there and the place is a mess. It's been ransacked and now he's really worried. So he opens the door, he runs to look in the bedroom. I think he puts his hand on the wall, I'm not sure. But he's worried, so he calls Priscilla, and Priscilla's like, okay, you have to call the police. But apparently he has priors and didn't want to get involved with them. So Priscilla tells him to leave and make sure that his fingerprints aren't really anywhere. So I guess she'll call the police then, or find a way to get them over there. And he just follows her directions and leaves. So back at the pharmacy, we have Sharon walking up on, I believe his name is Dale. He's the new help that Kareem hired for the pharmacy. So Karen decides to ask him more questions about the cult because, again, if you can remember from Ruthless, for those of you who are watching Ruthless, he used to work at the grocery store that some of the cult members used to frequent, and he was also someone who one of the gentlemen tried to recruit. Anyway, so Sharon is asking for more information about the cult. So, do you remember where they're located? You know, what did they do when they came into the store? And she didn't really get very far because Dale really didn't know much. You know, he told of his little interactions with them while they were in the store and didn't really want to divulge any of the rumors that he had heard because he was scared of passing on the wrong information. In the middle of their conversation, Barry's knocking on the window and tries to get Sharon's attention. Dale actually notices it and tells Sharon, and she walks out there to speak with him. So Barry, in his very idiotic way, he's another person on the show that really gets on my nerves, is like, why didn't you tell me? Is there something you want to tell me? Just ask her if she's pregnant, and why didn't she tell you that she was pregnant? Let's just get it all out in the open that you know what it is that you want her to tell you. But in any case, she doesn't really want to talk about it. He starts to question her, why didn't you tell me? Who's the father? That type of thing. And again, she's trying to shoo him off, just like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Go away. You're becoming very aggressive and rude and that type of thing. Let's just leave me alone. So at that moment, Nancy pulls up and is like, let's go, because she knows her son and she knows that he was out there showing his behind and being really rude to Sharon. But he was kind of ignoring the mom a little bit. But then Kareem comes outside and tries to be all hard, like, what are you doing? You're not about to put your hands on her or whatever. And they looked like they were about to fight, but Nancy was like, no, get in the car, I'm not going to tell you again. So Kareem is taunting him a little bit, like, yeah, listen to your mom. So I guess Barry thinks about it and is like, listen, I'm going to just go because this is not going to end well. Nancy apologizes to Sharon. Sharon is basically a little overwhelmed right now. She can't understand what is causing Barry's attitude. So I don't know if they're going to try and blame this on the fact that his daughter was kidnapped, and the fact that Sharon was cheating on him with Kareem for all this. But it just seems like this attitude or behavior just came out of nowhere. Can we just get him back to where he was before this show started and everybody said that he was such a great guy? Because I'm not seeing it. In fact, I just want him to go away. Karen and Miss Nancy makes a comment to Sharon and says, things will get better, that type of thing. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve for anyone to talk to you and make you feel like shit, but you did cheat on him, and so his curiosity is piqued. He wants to know if he's the father. I think that's a fair and legitimate question. Whether or not you want to answer it is a different thing, but it is a fair question for him to ask. And then also on Kareem, one more time, every time I see him, I flash back to last season where he was trying to tell Sharon that Barry was selling drugs and that type of thing. And I really, really feel like he is the bad guy in this situation. He seems really clean cut, and he just seems like a jerk for trying to be a homewrecker. But I feel deep down that he may, at the end of the day, turn out to be peddling drugs, considering that he is running a pharmacy. So next we have Dr. Meadows and Donald going in to see the president. Donald is introducing her as a doctor that he found to help his son. She's actually very beautiful, and the president can't help but being a flirtatious jerk. But Donald kind of checks him. So then we're back at the pharmacy and we have Kareem giving Sharon the 5th degree. So he's over there saying, why didn't you tell me you were pregnant? And she didn't tell you because she didn't want you to be super pressed and hanging all over her. He asks her if it was his. She says, no, it's Barry's. He says that he wish it was his. Of course you wish it was yours, but it's not, so move on. So now he pressures her into answering why she is with Barry, because she deserves better. And I guess the only answer she could muster at the time was that, he's a jerk right now, but when it's good, it's great and it's amazing and I love him. And in this moment, all I can think of is, girl, you don't owe this man or any other man an explanation. What you need to do is go find a job at CVS and get out this man's pharmacy. I can take this line of questioning from a friend, even from Nancy, but I can't take this line of questioning from a man that is intentionally trying to break up your relationship. So Donald takes Dr. Meadows upstairs to meet Jason. They run into the first lady, who kind of looks her up and down and asks her a few questions, because based on her looks, it just seems like she can't be as effective as they need her to be. So they point Dr. Meadows in the direction of Jason's room. He's in there just hanging out. And while she's walking away, the first lady kind of questions Donald on her looks, and he said he did it on purpose to try and give him some motivation. But the first lady still isn't convinced and says that she thinks that her son is going to run him away. So in the room, Jason kind of realizes what this is, and although he told his parents that he was going to try and get better and accept the help, he's basically being a jerk in this room. And instead of talking about his problems, he's actually talking about his parents' problems, and basically leading Dr. Meadows to think that that is the root of all of what's going on with him. So out in the hallway, Donald and the First Lady are having a semi-pleasant conversation. All the times I've seen them interact prior to this have been kind of contentious, and she's been kind of a jerk. But in this scene, he's able to openly ask her how she feels about living in the White House. she asks him about being gay, that type of thing. They get really close. It's nice nasty, I guess you would say. She takes the opportunity to ask Donald to make Sam her head of security, and he said that he would make that happen for her. And then outside of that, they decide to sit there and wait for Dr. Meadows to come out the room. So we cut back to her in the bedroom with Jason, and they're in conversation about his parents, and then halfway through that conversation, he starts to jack off, and she's like, I'll leave and you can finish that up. And he's like, no, I need you to stay because it hurts or whatever. And then he ejaculates into his hand and throws it at her. I am not sure how she managed to not kill him in the moment. Like, that is so gross and humiliating. But instead, she walks out, but does so in a way to make him think that he had won. When she goes into the hallway, the First Lady and Donald want to know what happened, but she rushes off to the bathroom. From there, we are back in Ellie's office. So the president shows up at the door and is essentially apologetic for their last interaction. If you can remember from last episode, he called her into his office and she's thinking there's actual work to do. Instead, he's commanding her to give him a blowjob, and then says that she didn't deserve the job that he gave her, and very rudely calls her Lily instead of Ellie. So they talk about that, and he brings up the fact that there's a huge media circus going on because of what Diane said is all over social. And Ellie's like, I know, that's what I'm working on. And he's like, you sure you have it? I mean, social media and regular media are all the same bucket and this, that, and the third. And she's like, no, they're different, and I got it. Stay in your lane. In any case, he basically tries to smooth it over. She looks like she accepts the apology. He, of course, has to try to see whether or not she'd be willing to do something in that moment. And she says no. But then he says, what about later? And she says she'll think about it. Maybe she'll try and make something work. And he has to respect that. And he seems really nice and genuine in that moment. But who knows? He is a player pimp. So that might just all be a ruse. So next we have Donald back upstairs in the residence waiting for Dr. Meadows to come out the bathroom, and Kyle comes upstairs. He asks for permission to go to his house and speak with his wife Lily, because he just doesn't trust that she's not being helped. Like, she completely fell off the grid for days and could not be found. So there's no way that she would have been able to do that on her own with no experience. Donald is saying, listen, no, I will talk to her. You leave it alone. And Kyle just doesn't trust him with being able to get the job done. I think a part of that is jealousy. He knows that Donald probably still harbors feelings for her, and he thinks that's going to get in the way, and he really wants to solve this because his fear is that she would have told someone what happened in the president's bedroom. Donald again tells him, no, leave my wife alone and get out of my presence. So he just runs off. And then Dr. Meadows walks up and says that Jason needs a lot of work. I think that is an understatement. Donald asks if she can help him, and she's like, she's not sure. He told her a lot of things about the president and the first lady and the fact that his sister's missing. And Dr. Meadows is saying, in order to do this, I think I'm going to need to talk to. So although giving the first parent therapy is out of the question, Donald is surprisingly receptive to letting her talk to them, because he knows that they could put on a good show. So, that's an easy fix. And so with that, she agrees to help Jason. Jason overhears that, and I don't know whether or not he's a little scared. I mean, that means there's someone out there that is willing to stand up to him. Hopefully, she knows self-defense or carries a taser or something so that she can quell his anger when it boils over and threatens her life. Next, we have Richard and Sam having a brief interaction in the kitchen. Essentially, they are both having marital problems and they don't want to talk to each other about it. That's exactly the long and short of it. But I feel like they need to confide in someone else that has a little bit of sense or a little bit of objectivity to help guide them through the situation. So eventually that's going to have to crack and they're going to have to talk to each other. They're supposed to be really good friends. So I don't know about that one. So lastly, we have Lily at home in Donald's office, and she's on her cell phone taking pictures of paperwork in his desk when Kyle walks in on her. So obviously his flags are up and blowing. He knows something's up. He already suspected her before, but now this just solidifies it. And so he asks her what she's doing, and she tells him to get out of her house. So obviously he's not going to. Instead, he persists and continues to ask, and eventually puts on some black gloves as if he's going to torture her into telling her the truth. She tries calling for help, but all the phone lines, the landline and her cell phone, are not working. So Kyle definitely planned ahead, but did he plan for when Donald might come home and catch him doing this, or did he feel like Donald won't care once he finds out the truth? And then Kyle, for someone who's so crazy and smart, it's surprising to me that he hasn't connected the dots with Bobby yet, right? You sent Bobby off to essentially seduce this girl, and then Bobby disappears after, he healed from a gunshot wound. Why wouldn't you assume that he's still in play? I don't know, but Bobby's on his way to go get his girl, so Kyle better watch out. That's all I have, guys, for The Oval Season 2, Episode 7. Let me know what you think about this episode in the comment section below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Peace.